everybody. Welcome back. We have all of our buddies here. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yep. These guys are going in for a groom soon. This is going to be our March update. And I've been a busy beaver. Been doing a lot of different things. I promised myself that if I posted my first Flosstube video that I could buy a pattern and start it and do it, and that turned into me buying multiple different patterns, and so far starting 1, 2, 3 of the new ones, or 4 of the new ones I got. 3, I think it's 3 of the new ones that I got, and so I've completed that goal, and a little bit of an overachiever there, and I guess first we'll start out with a little bit of a life update, and then I'll go through the whips I've been working on, and then I guess I'll go through the things that I bought this month. Miss Cam is sitting here with us. She's always up here with me, huh? Yeah. Say we're getting really shaggy. It's time to go to the groomer. Not their favorite thing to do, but we're gonna have to go to the groomer here and get these guys trimmed up soon. Yep, you guys are getting real shaggy. I know. And then life has been pretty hectic and chaotic this month. My husband is away at schooling for his job, so he can get a promotion, which means it's me and our 3 children that are still at home. And thankfully this time they're all pretty self-sufficient. I don't have to, I'm not managing 2 toddlers and a baby or anything. I'm just managing a 16-year-old who all of a sudden has come into a real bad attitude problem. And like if I even ask him, hey, like it's his chore to take out the trash. And it's like, hey, bud, like, I need you to, like, the garbage is full. Everybody keeps trying to pack stuff into this. Like, you need to take the trash out. And he's just like, it's the end of the world. And he's very, very frustrated. And I'm just trying to explain to him, like, listen, we all have things that we don't like to do. And unfortunately, we have to stop doing things that we do like to do and get that done. So, on top of his attitude, my 13-year-old daughter, Abby, well, her name's Abigail, but she prefers to go by Abby. And in fact, she told me when she was, oh geez, how old was she? Maybe like 5 or 6, that she wished I would have named her Abigail instead of Abigail. I was like, there's not much of a difference, kiddo, but sure. So she goes by Abby. She's always been my, like, she's such my even-keeled, like, kid. Like, she's so easygoing. Like, I mean, you don't have to tell her to do something. She's very, very responsible. Like, I don't know how else to describe her besides, like, she's just so easy. And her dad's gone, and it's like all of a sudden an attitude has arrived. And I think it's just a simple fact that, like, they're all missing their dad, so they want him home. And even though, we have the phones, we can video call, we can do all that kind of stuff, it's just, I get it. It's not enough. You miss him whenever he comes home from work and he gives everybody a hug, and that, he's sitting out at the dinner table with us all and, asking everybody about their day and what they've done and things like that. But I think Dad being gone has been the hardest on our youngest daughter, Lydia. She will be 8 in less than a month now. And this is her first time where she can remember Dad leaving whenever he's went to school. So she's a bit of a mess. She's definitely the one that I call my very much so emotional child. She gets very nervous easily. She still doesn't know how to ride a bike. We have tried and tried and tried. All of our other children, by the time they were 5 years old, they could ride a bike without training wheels. We are still having a hard time just getting her onto the bike, so I don't know if that's going to be something we can accomplish, but we like to take bike rides and stuff as a family, and we live sort of like on the outskirts of town. We're not like downtown in our town, but we also don't live like out in the middle of nowhere in our town either. We, like I said, live sort of like on the outskirts of downtown. So, you know, it's really nice to be able to go out and go for a bike ride and things like that. But we haven't been able to do it for quite a few years because, like I said, she's too big to fit in one of the seats, and she's too heavy to pull in any of the, oh my gosh, what are they called? You know, the little seats that you know, have the brackets and everything, and you attach on it, and your kid sits in it, and you can pull them along when they're like toddlers. They're too big for the little like bucket seat behind you, and she's too heavy for that, so we can't pull her in that anymore. But she won't ride her own bike. We've tried. We've got her a couple different scooters, and that works for a little bit, but then she gets tired. So then usually me or my husband have to get off our bike and, you know, carry hers plus push our bike and make sure, you know, she's staying with us and everything else. So I'm hoping, I'm going to cross my fingers and pray that this year will be the year that we can get her to ride her bike. I don't care if she's on training wheels. I don't care at this point, as long as she's just on the bike and she understands stopping and going. So it's also been, this is the month that we call her our adopted grandma. She wasn't able to have children when she was younger, and she came into my life not too long after I had lost one of my grandmothers. Well, I don't have any grandparents living anymore, but I had lost, like, Lydia is named after my grandma Jane, Lydia is Lydia Jane, and it was about a year before Lydia was born that my grandma Jane had passed, and not too long after my grandma Jane passed did I find who we call Grandma Joanne, and she's our adopted grandma. We do everything for her, go to hospital visits. I mean, she knows if she needs absolutely anything, she just calls us and we'll be there in a second, because she's our adopted grandma. I don't care. She's mine. I claimed her. And she's required a little bit more help in the last couple years because she has amyloidosis and a couple other diagnoses, and it requires us to help her as much as possible. But the month of March is when I like to do my spring cleaning, and it's also the month that she likes to do her spring cleaning. So not only am I wiping down my ceilings and my walls and cleaning off all the shelving, then the knickknacks, and pulling out all the furniture and doing everything else, I'm also going over to her house and doing that for her as well. And it has been a busy, I was kind of doing off my cleaning until after I had done hers, because I have little kids, so, you know, they get the fingerprints and, you know, the dirty handprints and everything else everywhere, so it takes me a little bit more effort to clean my house than it does hers. And I was just like, you know, I just want to get that one accomplishment. And she didn't call me until it was last week we started doing her house, and I've only got 4 rooms, and then like her stairwell and her hallway to do yet, and I'll be finished over at her house. But she didn't have me come and do it yesterday, and she had a doctor's appointment today, so we weren't gonna, because she gets exhausted pretty easily, so we didn't start doing that today. So instead, the last 2 days I decided, well, I guess I'm gonna start doing mine, because I'm crazy. I don't know what I'm thinking, doing both houses essentially at the same time. So I'm like tired and exhausted, and then even more exhausted because my husband isn't even here to help, even if, you know, like the little things that he does. So everything's all on my shoulders, and my husband is just like shaking his head. He's like, you really do bite off more than you can chew. But he's like, I don't know how, Nick, you get it all done, but you managed to finish it. But yesterday I cleaned the entire upstairs of my house, which doesn't take too long, because like my room doesn't really, I've got this like cool mop that's meant for like your walls and ceiling, and it's got the nice, you know, extendable thing that goes through. But my room isn't that dirty. So it didn't take me long to clean up my room. I'm granted my husband's not here, so I can't move the dressers or move like the bed frame and everything else to clean underneath that. So that's going to have to wait until he's home. But the bulk of it's done. Everything's dusted. Everything's cleaned. You know, the sheets and pillows and everything's washed and everything's cleaned off. And then the kids I make my children do their own rooms. And sometimes I get a lot of crap for that. And it's just like, I try and tell, like, it's more or less like the older generations of our family that don't like it, because I'm like, listen, I am preparing these children to leave my house someday, and I don't care if they're male or if they're female, they should all know how to deep clean the house. I don't care. They should all know how to, you know, scrub a wall. They should all know how to clean a toilet, you know, wash their own clothes. And this is spring cleaning, and I was never taught how to do that. So I make sure that I teach my kids how to do it properly, because I've learned from, you know, helping, like I said, Grandma Joanne do her house and different ways that she does things. And it was a lot easier than the way I was doing it. So by showing my kids, I hope that they will get it. So really, in all honesty, all I had to do was clean my bedroom, clean the bathroom upstairs, and then do our hallway. So it was really only one day's worth of work, other than, you know, I have to wait until my husband gets home, so that way I've helped moving the dressers and the beds and stuff, so that way I can clean out from underneath all those. But other than that, it's finished. And then this morning I was like, all right, well, before you're going to record your Flosstube, you are going to spring clean this entire living room. And my living room, like, I'm not sure which is worse, my living room or my kitchen. I think I hate doing the kitchen because you get, you know, like the kitchen grease. And I hate, that takes a little more effort to get off. No matter how many times I wipe down stuff, no matter how clean I keep it, every spring whenever I go and clean that stuff off, there's always that oily residue. And I have different cleaners that help break down that oily residue, but they smell horrid, and it works, but elbow grease works too. So I guess I just take the harder way and do it that way. And then I hate doing the living room because we have so many knickknacks, and you know, I have my books up on shelving throughout my living room, and then all the pictures, and then my son Damon's deer mount is a pain in the butt because it has to be cleaned a certain way so you don't ruin it. And it was an expensive piece that the first buck that he ever shot, and his grandparents paid to have it mounted. Well, I paid for half of it, but his grandparents paid for half of the deer mount to get mounted. So it's very important to him because it would have been a 10-point. However, half of it only has one full rack, and then the other half only sticks up like this far, and it has the tine on it. So it's technically a 6-point, but it was originally a 10-point. So he's very proud of that mount, and it has to be cleaned a certain way or you ruin them. And I don't want to ruin it because it was expensive. Even though I hate this stupid thing, I don't want this stupid thing hanging up in my house. But it's something he's very, very proud of because he had hunted from the time he was about 5 years old, and he didn't shoot a deer until I think he was 13. So, you know, he's very proud of it. So I don't want to ruin that. But anyways, so yes, this morning I got up and I was like, you're going to clean this living room and get it done and out of the road. And I did. I moved all the furniture. I cleaned everything. I got it all done. I got everything put back. And I'm exhausted and I'm tired. But I need to get this done today because I have to go to Grandma Joanne's and finish doing up her cleaning the rest of this week. So this is the only day that I have that I can record this. And I was like, I don't know what I was thinking this morning. But I achieved my goal. All right, let's move on to what I've worked on. First one, I just threw it all on the floor, to be honest with you. The first one here which I believe I'm not going to take it fully off of it's on a nerd hoop because this piece is humongous and it's a pain in the butt. But last time you guys saw it, I'm trying to remember what you guys saw here. And I believe the last time you guys saw it, I was working on, this is the Epic Disney style by the Clouds Factory. It's on 18 count. It's stitched 2 over 1, and of course it's full cross. Last time you guys saw it, I believe I was working down here with Moana. Let's see if we can see her here. Yeah. Moana, her section is completely done. And then now I am working on Beauty and the Beast. This one I stitched on for about 5 days. And that's pretty much how I roll with my, because I have quite a few rips. I don't have as many as everybody, but I do have quite a few of them. And the way I work is I cannot be put on I can't feel pressure to stitch or feel like I have to work on this particular thing, or I go, it just puts me off. I don't want to do it. And then I don't stitch, and I enjoy stitching. It's how I relax. So the way I do it is whatever I feel like working on, I have to work on it for at least 5 days, which for me is quite a good amount of time. I get quite a bit of stitching done in that amount of time. And I don't feel like I'm stuck working on something that I don't want to. Because if after like 3 days I really don't feel like working on it anymore, I can put it back. But this is the Disney piece is kind of my main focus because I'd like to get, like I said, most of it done, and I want to have it done within a year. I started this October 22nd of 2022. So I want to get this finished within a year, and it's going to be hard because I forget how many patterns. There's like 13 different movies, I believe it is, that I have to chart out myself and then stitch them on. All right. The next one I worked on is this one. Next one I worked on is the Pledge of Allegiance. Now I switched this onto a different scroll frame because I prefer the shorter ones. This one is Pledge of Allegiance by the Cross Stitch Studio. It's on 28 count, and it is stitched 1 over 1 full cross. This side I did. So I completed from about here down and here. And the way I stitch is like like I call these 10 squares blocks, but I usually do like a 2 by 5 section, and then we'll park wherever it's most convenient on either down below, above, or whatever. If it's not close enough, then I just cut it off. But I did steal the sidebars for this one to work on a different project. Then next would be Lady Justice. This one is one I have completed before, but I'm doing it over again because I want to do it over again. This is Memorabilia Lady Justice. And it is being worked on 28 count Monaco. It is hand dyed by myself. And I worked on this one for 5 days. And you go this way. And that's how far I got. It's not too bad if I do say so myself. I always hand dye my own fabrics. I just like it being squirted all over the place. I don't like rhyme or reason. Figure out how I folded this before. There we go. So I'll put it back down in here. Gotta put stuff back where they go, or I will forget where I put things. Next one is this one. Next one is also a new start. You're over here. Oop, I have to take that off. Can't be showing people the pattern. People will be upset with that. So the next one is by Bella Filipina. It is Maria McKilling, and it is also done on 28 count. It is hand dyed by me. You see any colored fabric, it is always hand dyed by me. And I also worked on her for 5 days, and this is done 2/2. I will do the skin 1/1, obviously. But for 5 days, I don't think that's bad. I should have been putting these back in their bags, but I didn't think of it in time. That happens. Okay, next one is this one. Okay. This one is also by Bella Filipina. It is also a new start. There's a hair on there. And it is Phoenix Queen. And that's our start on her. I believe I said this is a 28 count Monaco. And again, the fabric is dyed by me. I think she'll look really cool on this one. I'm excited to see how she'll look on this fabric. There. And then it would be on this one. Then the next one I started because I kind of went on a serial start because I decided I could. This one is, I guess I forgot to show you guys pictures of the other ones, but this is, the other ones I'll insert photos of. This one is Mirabilia, oh, what the heck was, Cathedral Woods Goddess, and that's by Nora Corbett. This one I also worked on for 5 days. It was also on 28 count Monaco and stitched 2/2. Skin is done 1/1, and the fabric is hand dyed by me. But it's actually not too bad. There's a lot of Kernich in this one, which can be a headache for a lot of people. Okay, you stay there. Okay, and then as for haul, like I said, so I bought the Maria McKilling, the Phoenix Queen, Cathedral Wood Goddess. I bought all those. Those are new things that I bought this month. This is Bella Filipina Gaia, the Earth Goddess. I bought this one too, plus everything to... She's fully kitted and ready to go. And then I also bought Queen of the Skies. Sorry, the glare is so bad. I don't want to take them out. And then Cleopatra, Queen of the Nile. And the Kapati, I think it's how it gets pronounced, as well. There we go. And then I also got myself, I store all my floss onto floss drops. And then these rings, I stick all of the threads onto these giant rings and then stick them in their project bags so that way I know where they belong. So I had to buy some more of those. And this one, this next purchase, I got the Case Creation Z lap stand. And this I'm going to use to stitch outside because I do have the Lowry. However, I am not going to drag this thing outside. So I figured this will probably work perfectly. So that way when my kids or my nephew and things like that are outside, I can just grab my project bag, grab this, and out the door I go, and I can sit anywhere out there and do whatever I want. And they'll be fine. So I got this bugger. And then maybe if, how do I explain this? So I live by okay, so it's like, we have this, we call it the 4 lanes. It's a pretty busy, I mean, it's not too busy, state road that goes behind our house. And has 4 lanes of traffic. And we live not too far away from Interstate 80. And when there's an accident, which is unfortunately along our stretch of Interstate 80, there are quite a few accidents. So when there are accidents, the traffic usually gets rerouted and it comes down behind my house and then out through town and gets rerouted that way, so that way they can go back up onto I-80 and continue on their way, but they get rerouted so that way they're not, going through the traffic. The accident. What am I thinking? So if I do any Stitch With Me videos and it's outside, we run the risk of hearing that traffic. And hopefully, I mean, if you guys don't mind it, I'll just go ahead and record them anyways, and we can just ignore the traffic in the back. Now, the road that is in front of my house is an emergency route because we live near a hospital, which means sometimes we get ambulances and stuff screaming up the road because it's an emergency route. So we also run the risk of having an ambulance have to shoot past. And then on top of that, we also have the fire station that's just like a block and a half away from my house. I don't even think, Flosstube itchy nose. I don't even think it's that far from my house. And unfortunately, well, it's nice to have it's a volunteer fire company and they work, but the whistle is very, very loud. And they are the ones that get called to most of the accidents or fires that happen in our area. So even though we have 3 firehouses all here within about a 2-mile radius. That's the one that's closest to my house, and that's the one that gets the most calls because A, it's the closest one to Interstate 80, and B, they're also the ones with the most amount of equipment that can help the most amount of people. So it goes nuts. And then I also live by our fairgrounds, which makes my house very, very popular with all my friends and family and stuff during that time of year because I'm within walking distance. So instead of paying the ridiculous price to park down there, most people would just call me and say, hey, can I pull into your yard or whatever and park in the driveway, or where can I park so I don't have, I'll just walk down, and which we don't care. I just usually ask people, just do me a favor, leave your keys on the counter so that way, if something happens and somebody else, somebody who's parked ahead of you or whatever needs to get out, we can move your vehicles to get cars out and stuff. But that can get extremely noisy. That usually happens first week of August. Whether or not the first few days are in July or not, it doesn't matter. Will start that week. So if, say, like Sunday and Monday and Tuesday are in July, and then the August 1st is on Wednesday, that's the week that fair is going to be in. It's always like that every single year. And the nice part about living so close to it is that they get like some pretty good like bands and things to play. They've had Kane Brown there. They've had who else has been there? Jeff Dunham did a show down there once. Who else? Oh, NSYNC came to play there once. But they get like good bands there, which is probably why our county fair is still going. And so the nice part about living close by is, like, if I want to hear them, all I got to do is step outside my door and sit on my porch, and I can hear the bands playing. However, because we live that close, that means during that time of year, it's pretty loud and it's pretty noisy. So, as long as you guys don't mind that kind of thing, heck, I'll record, and we won't hear the concerts on here because the concerts don't start until like 8, 9 o'clock, something like that. I'm not sure. It's been a long time since I went down to one. The truck and tractor pulls, those start around about 8 o'clock, and those are extremely loud. So there would be no way I would record during then. But those are my ideas. Those are the things I've got. And I think that's all I've got to say for today. I need to quit blabbering on. I've got so much stuff to finish cleaning up. I've got to put all this stuff away. But the good news is I only need to spring clean left. My laundry room, my kitchen, and our back bathroom. And my spring cleaning is done for the year. And I can't wait. Oh, except for, I take that back. The only thing that's not cleaned yet, and it's in this living room, is our giant area rug. And that I definitely need my husband here for, because we pressure wash the sucker. And that requires both of us taking it and carrying it outside and hanging it over the back gate of our, what is that called? Trailer? Is that what it's called? Man, my brain is not functioning today. Yeah, because you pull it behind your car, the trailer. We throw it over the gate of the trailer, and then we pressure wash it. And he doesn't allow me to touch his pressure washer, so he's got to be here to do that. And it's not quite warm enough out for that yet, but that'll probably not get done anyways until June. But that's the last thing in this room that's got to be cleaned. But I think I've done a good job. And I've got quite a lot of stitching. I don't know how much stitching, but I accomplished quite a lot. But thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe. Hi around. Thanks for hanging out with me. I didn't think that many of you guys would. And I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys next time.